This is a review of Red Dead Redemption.
Damn. Damn, boy. Damn, boy!
Yeah, what can we really say about this game that hasn't been said before? We're gonna try to put our own unique twist on this review like we always do, in the hopes that it'll be more interesting and unique, hopefully. So like always, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna rank each part of the game from the worst to the best, and then give it an overall score based on our entirely new grading system. Alright, let's do this. In last place are the visuals. Red Dead Redemption's an overwhelmingly brown game when you look at it.
That's racist.
Everything from the landscape to the clothing's blanketed with drab colors, dirty people, wind-blasted vistas, and dusty cowboy towns. But that actually ended up being kind of a strength for the game in a roundabout way for me. It's rough and tumble western gunslinging to the core, which sounds like the exact opposite of where I'd like to be spending my time. But just the fact that Rockstar can make these worlds that are so far removed from the one I imagine my own personal heaven would look like, but still get me to enjoy being inside of it, is a testament to their genius of world building and game design. Honestly, I'd rather die than go camping for a night. So why then do I find myself craving the outdoorsy embrace of Red Dead Redemption? All of these cold, starry nights by a fire, the bitter, rainy days, the long, winding rides on horseback. Everything in the game is built to prop up the emotion and the theme of what's happening in Red Dead Redemption, and with John Marston, its main character. But for huge chunks of the game, it stays pretty monochromatic, but probably by stylistic choice. It makes sense, I guess it wants to stay more true to reality, but that doesn't mean I found myself marveling over all the sagey, cactusy Texas landscapes. I do have to say though that some of the sunrises and sunsets are absolutely incredible, so the game can be beautiful when it wants to be. This game was made in that weird era of consoles where the graphics weren't quite good enough to make people look actually realistic, but also not bad enough either to just kind of look funny like the blockhead era of the PS2. Except John, obviously they spent a little more time trying to make him look really good, and I think they made him look pretty good. Handsome dog. He's a handsome dog. Also, I think the game could have used a couple more visual centerpieces, like massive cool landmarks, or something out there on the map to help you navigate and have a good sense of location when you're just like way out there in the middle of nowhere. Last place goes to the visuals. Fourth place goes to the gameplay. Red Dead isn't great at any one particular thing, at least as far as the gameplay is concerned, but it does like 17 trillion tiny things all pretty well. And that's a good thing that the game's packed with so much stuff to do in it, because the vastness of the setting needed to be balanced out by stuff to actually be doing in it. If you want to take a break from the main storyline missions, you can go play some poker at the saloon, or wrestle up and tame some wild horses, and play some darts. Save some random dudes who are just getting wrecked by wolves on the side of the road, or go on treasure hunts. But the main crux of the gameplay mostly comes down to two things: shooting guns, riding horses. Lots of riding horses, in fact. The one you end up riding around on, for the most part, feels okay, maybe a little stiff on turns and acceleration. Do horses accelerate? Is that the right word for horses? And trying to lasso and wrangle a wild horse from the back of another horse? Seriously, I hated it. I just hated it. As far as the guns go though, this game again is good enough to pretty much stay out of its own way. There's a great sense of weight behind pulling the trigger and smoking some dude in the head from yard. It just feels right with all the heavy old west style of guns the game gives you. Aiming does feel a little rickety to me, with the microscopic reticle that felt like I was performing surgery with my analog sticks whenever precision shots were being asked of me. But I mean, it works fine. A lot of the missions that you take on can start to feel kinda samey too. There's a lot of riding around on carts and horses and shooting a bunch of guys in similar environments, but at least there are a lot of different ways and weapons to kill them with. So even though it wouldn't be accurate to say that the gameplay is bad, I eventually found myself having less and less fun doing a lot of the same things over and over again after I got far enough into the game. Fourth place feels right for the gameplay. The characters get third place. Alright, I can already hear a bunch of you gathering up a good old western posse to rain some cowboy justice down on me for saying that. But if I'm being honest, outside of the main character, no one else really left that good of an impression on me. John Marston alone is a fantastically written, multi-dimensional character bursting at the seams with personality traits that span the entire spectrum from subtle wit to murderous temper. And the way that we see his current and past life unfold throughout the game lets us see and understand just how each little piece of his personality that we see was developed. It really is a moving experience to see him try and manage being caught up in this brutal web of events that always feel just barely outside of his control. And riding with him through to the end of his story is something that I'm going to remember for a very long time. But all this just makes the contrast all the more stark between him and most of the other characters in the game. They're all either annoying, unhelpful, despicable, stupid, or just act like frustrating obstacles at every turn to deal with, fight against, or even just to freaking talk to. And most of the time when you finish a mission helping someone else, it takes you right back to where everything was before you spoke to them in the first place, and they tell you, oh yeah, thanks for that, just help me win this Mexican Revolutionary War real quick, and then I'll give you a tiny bit of information about this dude you're looking for. Thanks, man. There are some good characters around, I just never felt like I got to know them well enough or spend enough time around them to say that I grew to like them. I mean, I'm probably exaggerating a little bit here, but I really didn't like many of the other characters in this game outside of the main one. But honestly though, it's a testament to how strong of a character John is that I place the characters this high. I mean, he carries this load so hard. Third place goes to the characters. Second place goes to the music and sound. Just like the world around it, the soundtrack to this game is pretty sparse, picking and choosing its different little places and mostly just letting the ambient sounds of the world take over for the most part. The true breakout performance here is the sound design. Every single bullet you fire cracks like a whip out of the barrel, and the clopping of the horse's feet as you ride around, and the revitalizing feeling of riding out into the wilderness on your own, leaving all the noise of civilization behind you, is beautiful. You can almost feel every sound that this game makes in your ribcage, like every moment of it and all of the action is super real and really important. And for as much as I dislike the characters as far as they're written, the voice acting in the game is actually pretty decent too. Given all their eccentric personalities, the vocal performances were just one huge hamfest and everyone went like 100% in on all the old Western vocal tropes. As for the actual music in the game, it pairs up near perfectly with the themes of regret, redemption, and dealing with the harsh consequences of actions taken not only during, but long before the game even takes place. Morose, long pulls on violins and reverby piano numbers set a great tone for Red Dead Redemption, but they stay in the background almost to make sure that these feelings really dig into your subconscious experience of the game. Some of my absolute favorite moments of the game are accompanied by the rare track that features vocal performances. They're just used so well to shift and set the tone in some really interesting ways during some of the more transitional events. Plus there's a song called Trigonometry, which is just the dumbest and most amazing pun I've ever heard. The music and sound get second place. And first place, of course, goes to the story. My favorite stories are the ones that are founded on relatable truths, and Red Dead Redemption feels like one of those lessons that we all eventually need to learn about, sometimes the painful reality of the universe and our singular tiny role that we play as individuals within it. We learn that John Marston was orphaned as a child and ends up falling in with a bad crowd because there's no one really else around to help him out or protect him. He grows up doing regrettable things in the name of family and a skewed sense of social justice. And while it's hard to blame someone like him who's done all of the things that he's done, it's also easy to blame him too. I mean, he's not a good person. It's complicated and hazy, and all the while it hits a little too close to home as we see what kind of problems still exist in our society today. The game's story evokes a sense of sympathy that I haven't felt from a game in a long time. So even while I thought some of the big events weren't handled perfectly from a storytelling standpoint, it still resonated meaningfully within me. So yeah, the story's great, but if I have to nitpick, there are some things that I'd change about it. Some of the bigger moments the game spent hours building up to feel a little anticlimactic when you finally get to them. Like the confrontation with the guy who shoots us way back at the very beginning of the game, or settling debts with other old friends that we meet along the way. they just fell a little flat in my opinion. Stuff seems to happen so fast sometimes in this game that I didn't get to fully appreciate the emotions or the catharsis of the moment. But still, the foundation of this story is incredibly strong, even if some of the narrative flourishes it throws out at us show a little crack here and there. So yeah, that's our review. I'd recommend this game to anybody looking for something with a super good story with a setting and atmosphere to match, as well as one of the most classical characters in video game history. Classic? Okay, I guess kind of classical too. Looks like the game just barely hit level 8. Now wait, I know that score might seem a little low to some of you, but the way our new grading scale functions is off the assumption that a level 5 game is a perfectly average and playable game. Not bad, but not great either. So yeah, Red Dead Redemption is way above an average game, but it still suffers from a few small imperfections that would really have boosted this game's score to the next level for us. But then again, this is just our opinion, so let us know what you guys think. Also, come join us on Twitch. We're pretty active over there too, if you want to hang out or talk or anything. And see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.